Right now, the biggest price growth happening in Australian real estate is occurring, of all places, in regional Victoria. Even as the boom in Melbourne subsides and winds down, although the outer ring areas of Melbourne are still very strong with prices still growing there, it's the state's regional markets that are rising strongly and delivering what I believe is the strongest price growth to be found anywhere in Australia right now. Our latest research has identified dozens of markets throughout regional Victoria where demand is rising, and we've also identified 61 towns or suburbs which have recorded double-digit price growth in the last 12 months, including many that have grown more than 20%, but perhaps significantly, these are mostly places where they've shown growth in the most recent quarter as well, which means prices are still rising in those areas. Now, Geelong remains a very strong market. It's one of the most prolific in Australia right now. Sales activity is no longer growing the way it has been in the last 2 years, but prices continue to rise very strongly. Ballarat's been the market leader in regional Victoria in the last 12 or 18 months, but now it's been overtaken in terms of suburbs with rising demand by nearby Bendigo, and this is now the market leader in those terms in regional Victoria, followed closely still by Ballarat. Emerging markets are popping up in the most unlikely places. Until recently, most of the regional markets that have been doing very well in Victoria have been those a little bit north of Melbourne, close to the capital city, but north of the city. But now we're seeing more and more growth markets emerging in the eastern part of Victoria. We've previously noted strong rising activity and price growth in Cardinia Shire, headed by Pakenham and Officer, and also in the Baw Baw local government area, where Warragul and Druin have been doing extremely well and delivering very strong price growth. But now we're seeing growth markets in other local government areas in the east, such as Latrobe, East Gippsland, and South Gippsland. The Latrobe local government area is 4 towns where demand is now rising strongly: Traralgon, Morwell, Moe and Churchill. In South Gippsland, Leongatha, Venus Bay and Corumburra are doing very well, and Meetung and Bairnsdale and East Gippsland also got rising markets. But it's the price growth that really stands out at the moment. Some of the price growth data in regional Victoria right now is what I would call eye-watering. In Cardinia Shire, places with strongly rising median prices in the last 18 months include Emerald, which is up 18%, Beaconsfield up 12%, Pakenham up 19%, and Officer up a remarkable 27% in the last 12 months. In the Baw Baw local government area, Druin's risen 16% in the last year, but Warragul has risen 26% and still rising. In the city of Greater Geelong, there's just a very long list of suburbs that have had double-digit growth in their prices in the last 12 months and are still growing according to the latest quarterly figures. And they include Bell Park, which is up 16%, Corio is up 27%, Herne Hill 23%, Lara 15.5%, Newcombe 25%, Ocean Grove 15%, Port Arlington 24%, and the market leader in terms of price growth in the last 12 months, the affordable suburb of Nor Lane, which has risen its median price by 30% in the last 12 months. And as I say, most of these are places where in the last quarter there's been significant growth, so prices still rising. In the Bass Coast area, Cowes is up 16%, Inverloch 15%, and North Wonthaggi 25%. So, as you can see from those figures, this is arguably the strongest market right now in Australia, regional Victoria. Demand is rising, so we're going to see continuing price growth, but the figures I've just presented show you some of the areas where in the last 12 months, median house prices have grown at mind-boggling levels, well ahead of any of the capital cities right now. Media tends to be focusing on Sydney and Melbourne, ignoring the smaller capital cities, but in particular ignoring regional Australia, which is where most of the growth is happening at the moment, headed, I believe, by regional Victoria. That's it for now. Terry Ryder from Hotspotting signing off. We'll do it again soon.